Hey everyone, sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know if you until which part of what I said you heard, but maybe William, would you mind giving your updates again so we have on this recording? So
Sure.
just to start, welcome everyone to this community call. This is May 21st. Federico is presenting at a conference in Neuchâtel today, so he is not available, but he will probably give updates next week about how it went. And so, William, can you give your update?
Yeah. So I've been thinking a lot recently about peer prediction ideas. So I've mentioned this on previous community calls. I have a blog article from a few months ago where I talk about some of these things, but we're continuing to rework them and reflect. So the core idea draws from the academic literature on peer prediction, which is generally associated with computer science. How do you incentivize crowds and various crowd set sourcing mechanisms they have? So obviously very related to Kleros, because Kleros is fundamentally a crowdsourcing tool. The main thing that distinguishes a peer prediction mechanism is, in addition to asking people what they think the right answer to a question is, you also ask them to say what the other people will think the answer is. So I think the answer is this, and I think like whatever percentage of the crowd will think like the answer is that, and the other percentage will think the answer is something else. And whenever you ask users for more rich information than just an answer, you can do more interesting mechanisms. So there's that's always interesting. A lot of the traditional mechanisms that people have studied in the peer prediction literature don't necessarily port well to a blockchain environment because they're less resistant to collusion or kind of group behavior. People pretending that to be civil attacks where you have multiple accounts that give information related, coordinate information related about how you think the other people are going to vote, and you are some of the other people. It's not like the most direct applications of the ideas are not obvious, but we've had these in the back of our mind for a long time, and I had an idea a few months ago to incorporate some of these ideas into handling how big the deposits are for certain cases. So basically, the peer information, how you vote, other people are going to vote, doesn't impact the outcome of the vote, but what it does impact is how high the stakes are for the participants. And we've thought about how to use this to deal with lazy attacks or lazy strategies, situations where people might always be incentivized to vote for the same answer because maybe you're judging a bunch of freelance or small business disputes and the small business wins 95% of the time. How do you prevent people from just always voting for the small business? Traditionally, we've done this by sort of raising the deposit size so that the extra amount of accuracy you get by putting in effort and really looking at the case makes a big enough difference, just because like the deposit is so large that my marginal chance of being right slightly more often by making the effort is enough to overcome the fact that most of the time you would be right just by voting for the small business. And how we can use peer prediction instead to have maybe a better sort of user experience for users that don't like having really large stakes because they're risk averse. So we're thinking a lot about that. I'm going to present some of these ideas at ECC in a few weeks. We have different mechanisms that we've considered. There are all kinds of interesting questions about what are the attacks, what are the griefs. So I'm, people have been, interested in these themes. Feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to presenting them more soon.
Interesting. So you presented also about this on the Stanford governance a couple of weeks ago, right? Did you have
no, I did. It was one of my panels at the King's College conference in London, also a few weeks ago, where we had a whole day on the mechanism designed for decentralized justice. So one of our panels was on peer prediction. So I presented my ideas. We had a couple other panelists that talked about other ideas where you can incorporate peer prediction into blockchain systems. I think that's recorded. So if people are interested, that, we should have a recording of that. At Stanford, I talked more about 51% attacks. and how they manifest in different blockchain identity systems. So like proof of personhood, soulbound tokens, how that impacts your resistance to 51% attacks. So less about peer prediction directly.
Okay. Yeah, we have the recording when we are editing now to release in parts. And but one question about this, William, did you get comments about your work in London? Like, what are some like different ways of solving this that people are studying?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to talk to the other peer prediction researchers on the panel. Um, they had some comments on the stuff I'm doing, like the approach of trying to use the peer information to have better deposits for risk-averse participants is a different angle than what is typically taken in the peer prediction literature. So like that, like they were thinking about like how can we design peer prediction systems that are robust in blockchain environments, even though you have these like collusion attacks that can like be used in more traditional ways around like determining what the right answer should be and if I'm rewarded for voting for the right answer or not. But I got some preliminary feedback on my approach, and I look forward to sharing it with other researchers and getting more feedback.
Nice. And one question about this. I know that V2 is modular and that you can have like different dispute kits. So this also allows it to be open to this different research, right? I don't know if every new research can be implemented on the V2, but there's some flexibility there, right? I know you're not the developing it, but I just would like to hear what
Yeah,
you know about this.
that's true. So like V2, as you said, allows different dispute kits. There is some like built-in structure and just sort of the core contract that calls the dispute kits that places some limitations on what a dispute kit can be, but it provides a lot of flexibility. So in particular, you can do these peer prediction types of things. Like part of the advantage of part of having a modular structure for V2 is that as we continue to do more research, we can deploy things that reflect future research without having to deploy the entire court and have everybody like migrate from one version of the court to the other. Also, like by having a modular design, you can use different dispute kits for different cases that have different needs. So like the peer prediction stuff that I've been thinking about is really relevant in categories of cases where there's a lot of predictability in which side wins with like a really high frequency. So for example, in the proof of humanity court cases, the reject was winning like 95% of the time or something. It was very high compared to the rates of the sort of splits in other kinds of cases where like many Kleros cases are more like 70-30 or 60-40, 80-20 in terms of like what side tends to win. So the humanity court wound up having very large deposits relative to the fees, and you win like the rate at which jurors were coherent was also really high. So like their expected value was still positive. But if you're risk averse, like that's not a great experience. So like the peer prediction is really helpful there. Whereas like maybe it's not as helpful in a set of cases. It's like more 60-40, where maybe some other aspect of the case, having non-binary outcomes or whatever is more of a priority when you're developing a dispute code.
Okay, that's interesting because I think the way that Kleros, the volume of cases is growing. We have been receiving lots of cases from a fintech in Argentina, and now an insurance company will be sending a couple, like a bigger amount of volume. And sometimes there's like a kind of a batches of cases that go maybe 80% in favor of the company and 20% to the user, or something like that, or 90% in favor of the company. And it's good to have these other alternatives to make the decision be correct without creating these incentives for lazy voting and or increasing too much the cost of the dispute.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So now that since we're talking about this, Marcos, would you like to share your updates?
Yes, sure. So, hey to everyone. From Kleros Enterprise. This week, we have some updates. First, from Lemon. There are a few cases that are coming that are in process. Most probably are going to be created, I would say, on Monday. As you know, it's a whole process. So, these 2 or 3 cases are in process. Again, for Monday, they should be created in our courts. Then with Lemon, we are working in some notification updates. The idea is, well, for the moment, this is more technical, but for the moment, the users were receiving their notifications with email. Now we're working to give the chance to the users to receive the notifications with WhatsApp, for example. And well, besides that, I remember there was a third update. Now I forgot it, but well, let's go to the next one about MedLife. Good news. For the moment, we received 3 pilot cases that were resolved at the beginning of the year, and well, since we started the real integration, we already received 2 cases that were already resolved in our courts, and this week we received 4 new cases. That these ones too are going to be created most probably on Monday or Tuesday. But again, these are good news because the support team, sorry, from MedLife is happy with the results, and well, they are sending us more cases. We too work in kind of some statistics that these guys from MedLife are asking us to send them. Then on yesterday we had a call with a project that is called El Dorado. It's a P2P, P2P marketplace, let's say. It's something very similar to what Paydis do, but I think they are bigger. At least for the moment, they had twice the transactions Paydis had. And what they want to do is to have Kleros as a dispute resolver in a second stage. So good. I think it's a good news. So those are the most important updates from the week, or at least from Kleros Enterprise.
Nice. So one comment about the MedLife cases. The latest 2 cases that we had, they were actually live cases, right? They were implemented by the company to like they were used to decide if a claim was given to the user or not, right?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Actually, since March, all cases that are coming for MedLife are like real cases because we signed a contract since March the 1st.
Nice. So I got selected to one of them, and I have to say it's a lot of responsibility because it's it's real world. It's not a dispute that is maybe related to something that is only on the blockchain. It's actually something that happened in real life and will have impact to the client. So recommend all Kleros jurors to take these cases very seriously and write the best justification possible because it's important for everyone, for Kleros, for the client, and for the user as well, because they are also our client, right?
Yes, yes. As we always say, the justifications for these cases are really important. So, well, that's why we are paying these $5 per, let's say, a coherent justification. So yes, justifications are very important for the cases of Kleros Enterprise.
Yeah, especially the first cases where it's maybe more difficult for jurors to evaluate the cases because they're not like very used to like they're not familiar with the policy or the types of, can I say, ambiguity that these cases might have. So everything that you can write down about your thoughts or like your thought process, this is helpful for us to understand if there's something we need to improve in the policy, if there's doubts about some clause or something like that, or even it might work as feedback for our clients, because since this is all transparent and we give feedback to after every case is resolved, this might be useful as well. We already got some feedback from Lemon cases about some things that could be improved, and this helps us keep the relationship with our clients good, and then make it better along the time. I think the Lemon policies were updated a couple of times, right, Marcos? I think maybe there was some at the initial tests, and then there was in first version, and I think maybe it was tweaked a bit.
Specifically talking for Lemon policy, there was a first draft of the policy, then there was like some iteration where they were making some comments, and there were some changes. Then the first final version was done, but after that, this first version was implemented during a few months, but after that, we noticed that now I forgot exactly which was the reason of the change of that first policy, but a few months later, a few cases later, we made a change there. Maybe we could ask this to Facundo again. I forgot which was the main reason of this change to the first policy. But yes, for all policies, we are like at the beginning. During the draft period, we are making we're iterating with this, because the company maybe wants something and our suggestions are other. It's a thing. So
yeah, it's a process, a continuous process, not a single integration and then it's done. Yeah, and it's nice that we also now have experience with different companies and different types of entities, like we have a fintech, an insurance company, and government entities, and this all helps us build knowledge and expertise to make better integrations in the future.
And
great.
one more thing.
I think. Yeah.
Now that you're talking about policies, specifically the other day, the guys from El Dorado, they wanted us, again, here Facundo would be more useful than me, but they wanted Kleros to resolve some cases so that they were able to improve their terms and conditions. So yeah, I think most companies that are using Kleros like understand that the policy process is something very important.
Yeah, and now we have maybe more expertise than the companies about creating policies, because Facundo has helped, I think, probably
yes, of course,
10 companies,
yeah.
10 policies.
Yeah.
There are some integrations that did not have cases yet, but they had like a policy written from the ground up. And so yeah, looking forward to have like more diverse cases. And okay, so I'll share some other updates that we had this previous week. We had like a huge update on the Kleros 2.0 site. We had lots of improvements, and there's now, for example, when you go to a court, you can see the stake of the jurors in that court, and that might that can be useful. For example, if you want to know if you will be like a small juror on a court where there are lots of big stakes, or if you can maybe stake less on this court because you'll be selected, like have a more equal stake to the other jurors. So this can be helpful for jurors to select where they can stake. There are lots of small changes as well that might not be noticeable, but they help us with the performance of the site. We had some issues in the past about subgraphs that we are fixing and looking for alternatives to make them not be as frequent or not happen anymore. Because I don't think that's maybe that's not realistic, but we are trying to minimize issues with the subgraph. And well, there were I think 158 commits in this update, so it's something that the team has been working on for a couple of weeks, and we finally released it last week. Other updates: we relaunched the Kleros Curate X account, and we will be posting some threads about it. We think it definitely needs more advertising from our part, because it's such a great product that has now found like basically product market fit. It's being used by Etherscan and all other block explorers based on Etherscan, and we have like a MetaMask Snap extension. There's a ledger application that uses the lists, and it's something that has been growing and helping like Web3, these Web3 tools to provide insights and make it easier for users to find, for example, malicious contracts, or for example, if a site has a domain hacked, then any user MetaMask Snap, then you can identify that the contract is not supposed to be there, and that might help you avoid being hacked and losing your funds. This is something that Vitalik calls information technologies. So there's a trend there, and we are part of it. Probably one of the biggest examples of this type of technology. Maybe one thing that we could compare these lists to is Wikipedia, because they are also written and created by the community. But the difference is that we, instead of having kind of a reputation system that is hard to break once it is settled, and maybe that has an organization in the top that selects a couple of people, where this in this system you can just stake in the curation courts and help decide if an entry is a part of the registry or not. It's a bit more simple. There's a bit for a moment. I don't know until which part you heard me, but basically we will be relaunching the Kleros Curate account. Please follow it and retweet. And there's a lot that we can communicate about Curate that maybe people don't know yet. Also, we will be releasing the videos from the Mechanism Design Conference in London that we mentioned before. The edits are almost done. Where else? I think these are the main updates. Okay, one more thing is that we are having dev office hours every 2 weeks on our Telegram group, and the purpose of that is to help developers building with Kleros to have some assistance, and it's a space for them to make questions and get some help from our Devro. She's called Parul. You can also send your questions on our Telegram group, and we can address them in this space. And the one that we had today was about different types of integrations. For example, smart contract integrations or recognition of jurisdiction integration, and which types of applications or services apply to which one, like which is a better choice for your type of application. There's a recording of that, and I'll be sharing in the Telegram group and also on X. And if you know someone that is building on Kleros, I recommend them to join the call and just ask your questions to Parul. She will be willing to help you with your questions. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Thanks everyone for listening. And sorry for the issues with the call. Maybe next week X will work better than today. Okay. Thanks, William. Thanks, Marcos. See you.
Cheers, everybody.